The most important aspect of the contributory pension scheme is remittance. Remittance from the employer and the employee, making a total emolument of 18% of monthly salary that goes into the retirement savings account, the RSA. Hello and welcome to Pension Matters, the pension awareness program, where we teach you all you need to know about the new pension scheme and inform you how to retire gracefully. My name is Princess Rabi Ibrahim, and I'm so glad to have you join us on this episode of the program. Today, we'll be discussing the most important aspect of the contributory pension scheme, which is remittance. For details of this and more, stay with us as the program will be back shortly.
Do you know there is a new pension scheme in Nigeria? It is mandatory, it is contributory, it is fully funded, based on individual retirement savings account. Under the supervision of the National Pensions Commission, the new pension scheme guarantees lifelong financial independence for every citizen of Nigeria in public or private employment. PENCOM says it's a new dawn. Call the National Pensions Commission now or log on to www.pencom.gov.ng for further details. PENCOM, your contribution counts.
Welcome back. The program is Pension Matters, and it's time for us to know what is trailing in the pension industry with Adanze Okorocha.
Thank you very much, Princess. And viewers, welcome to Pension Trail, where I will give you the latest updates and happenings in the pension industry. I am Adanze Okorocha. On our story today, 10 billion naira recovered, says PENCOM. The National Pension Commission, PENCOM, has recovered 10 billion naira unremitted pension contributions. The Commission will soon begin pension audits of the existing employer in the country to know those who failed to remit the compulsory 18% of the workers' pension contributions to their retirement service account held by their respective pension fund administrators. Section 3, Subsection 1 of Pension Reform Act 2014 states that there is an established law for any employer in the Federal Republic of Nigeria to have a contributory pension scheme, CPS, for the payment of the retirement benefit of the employers under the Act. Next on our story today, states to participate in National Pension Scheme. The Nigeria Labour Congress President, Comrade Ayuba Waba, decried the poor participation of states in the National Pension Scheme. He stated that there is need for the prompt and full participation of all the states and local governments in the pension scheme for the interest of their workers. He added that failure of many states' governments to do this, even after the 2014 amendment to the Pension Reform Act 2004, portends great danger for the future of their workers. Lastly, PFAs to reach out to informal sector. The pension fund administrators across the country are planning on how to expand their scope of business to the informal sector employees. They hope to do this with a view of taking advantage of the National Pension Commission's proposed unveiling of the framework under which millions of the informal sector employees will be captured in the new Pension Reform Act. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on this package. Princess, over to you.
Thank you, Ada, for that beautiful update. Viewers, you're welcome to our Up Close segment of the program, Pension Matters. Today, in our Up Close segment, we'll be discussing the issue of remittance. And to do that with me is the head contribution remittance at the National Pension Commission in the person of Mr. Aliu Ahmed Tijani. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Good. Today we'll be discussing remittance. The contributory pension scheme makes it possible for people to remit money into the retirement savings account. First of all, can you tell us what is remittance?
Virtually, what we mean by remittance is the process of lodging monies or pension contributions of employees into their retirement savings account. Okay. That is, in short, what remittance is all about.
This issue of remittance, you know, the Pension Reform Act of June 2004 that was amended in 2014. People have started contributing into this retirement savings account, which they opened with their pension fund administrator. But in most cases, we have this issue of zero balance. And it has been a worrisome issue to contributors into this special scheme. So can you throw more light why we have zero balance in these accounts?
Yes. At the beginning of the scheme, I mean, when the scheme started in 2004, there were deductions being made from employees' salaries. Now, please, I will have to limit my discussion to employees of the public sector, especially for ministries, departments, and agencies that are being funded by the public treasury.
That's MDAs.
That's MDAs. So deductions were being made at source. That is from the Office of Accountant General. And this money is being lodged into an account in the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, two portions are being lodged into that account. The amount deducted from the employee's salaries and the portion that relates to the employer, in this case the federal government. So when that is being done, as at that time, the National Pension Commission was given the responsibility of ensuring that the contributions being lodged into that account is being remitted into the accounts of the employees with their various PFAs. So at that time, there was little information about employees. So, but we had to now resort to getting the information either through the MDAs or directly from the employees themselves. So that was how we started. So as at that time, it was not all the employees that actually forwarded their information to the commission to enable us first identify them and then determine how much contribution should be remitted into their accounts. But of course, a lot of employees did that, but then some did not do. So even as at that point, when we started the actual remittance in 2006, we didn't cover all the employees because, like I said, we did not get the information for all of them to enable us remit their contributions.
Now, we have some discrepancies in remittance.
That's right.
So what do you think is responsible for this?
Good. In essence, it is based on the information that we receive. Now, normally, what is the type of information that we do receive? Virtually the name of the individual, his pension personal identification number, what we popularly refer to as PIN number, and then the date that he or she started work, and then his grade levels and steps along the line. That is from especially from 2004 to date. Now, if for someone, the information we have about him as it relates to his grade level and step is not being updated over time, it now means the amount that we will be remitting into his account will be like the same amount, month in, month out. So with that, here we are, an individual being promoted, over the years, but with us, because the information we have is stale or not updated, we continue to pay him based on his old grade level and step. So along the line, that individual, of course, as soon as he compares from his side what is being deducted from him and what is being remitted into his account, definitely there will be discrepancies. And hence the need for him to now say, I have every reason to complain, PENCOM is not remitting my contributions as it should be. But this is as a result of inadequate information about him.
So in the actual sense, what it says that information is very, very key.
Is very, very relevant in this matter.
Viewers, you've heard it from Mr. Ahmed Tijani. Information is very key in this business. So Nigerian workforce, once you receive any form of promotion or increment in your salary, all you need to do is inform your pension fund administrator to enable them, make sure the information gets to National Pension Commission so that the amount due to you is remitted into your retirement savings account. We'll take a short break now. After we come back, Mr. Ahmed Tijani will take us more into the issue of remittance into the retirement savings account. Don't go away.
Do you know there is a new pension scheme in Nigeria? It is mandatory, it is contributory, it is fully funded, based on individual retirement savings account. Under the supervision of the National Pensions Commission, the new pension scheme guarantees lifelong financial independence for every citizen of Nigeria in public or private employment. PENCOM says it's a new dawn. Call the National Pensions Commission now or log on to www.pencom.gov.ng for further details. PENCOM, your contribution counts.
Welcome back. The program is Pension Matters. Sir, before the break, I was going to ask you, what is the contribution level that will be remitted into the retirement savings account of Nigerian workers?
You know, at the beginning of the scheme, actually the PRA 2004, you know, at that time specifically mentioned that the rate of contribution is 7.5 for employee and 7.5 for employer. That's a total of 15%
yes,
of one's monthly emolument.
Okay.
Of course, with the 2014 Act as amended, the rate has now increased to 18%. That is 10% by the employer and then 8% by the employee.
I want to ask you this question because it's very, very important. We receive several letters from our viewers telling us that at times their employers remit only their own contribution and do not remit the contribution of their employers. So what do you have to say about this?
Yes, sometimes we do receive such complaints, especially like in the private sector. Sometimes you have this situation where probably maybe due to lack of funds, of course the employer having deducted the employee portion,
yes,
I mean, would just remit that amount withholding the employer portion. Of course, this is an offense because ideally it is both the employer and the employee portions that should be remitted.
At the same time?
At the same time. Especially, in fact, even it should be remitted not later than 7 working days after the payment of salary.
But sir, the pension fund administrators that house this retirement service account, are they allowed to collect remittance on one part?
Well, the issue is that of compliance.
Good.
The fact that payment has been done. Now, when remittance is being done, it is not done directly to the PFA, by the pension fund administrator, but to the pension fund
custodians. Yeah.
There's an account that such monies will be lodged into.
Okay.
Now, if at the point of loading this amount, it is just the employee portion that has been lodged, I mean, there's an issue. It's not as if the custodian will reject that amount.
Okay.
You know, so at the end of the day, it keeps happening that, oh, maybe after a while, it is discovered that it's just the employee portion that has been remitted. But like I said, it is supposed to be both.
Okay, in a situation like this, what is expected of the pension fund administrator or the National Pension Commission to do to sanction such organizations?
Actually, the PFA has a responsibility. First, as soon as the PFA discovers that it is just the employee portion that has been remitted, that PFA has a duty to contact the employer, you know, on the need to pay the employer portion. Now, in addition to that, such complaints can even be forwarded to the commission.
Good.
And we have a compliance and enforcement department that will now take up the matter to follow up with the employer to ensure and even force the employer to remit the employer portion.
The IPPIS, what is it and how does it work? and how does it operate?
Well, IPPIS actually stands for Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System.
Okay.
Now, this is a system that has been established by the Office of Accountant General of the Federation, in which employees of MDAs funded by the Treasury are being captured, validated, to ensure that, oh, yes, this is a bona fide employee of this MDA.
Okay.
Now, the purpose, more or less, or in addition to other things, is to ensure that that salaries are paid directly to such bona fide employees. Deductions that are being made, will be made at source and then paid to the relevant authorities. For example, in the issue of tax, when it is deducted, it will be remitted to Federal Inland Revenue. For pension contribution, when that is deducted, will be lodged into an account in CBN, or paid directly to the PFA of the contributor. Basically, that is what is being done. Okay. The same thing with other deductions. So the whole idea is to ensure that actual employees of specific MDAs receive their money or salaries directly from the Office of Accountant General, and then other payments associated with his or her salary will also be done correctly to the right authorities.
The issue of increment after retirement in the guideline of the Federal Civil Service, whenever increment is made to serving public servant or workforce, increment is expected to also go to the retirees after a while. So in the contributory pension scheme, does this apply?
It applies.
Oh, great.
Because as it is a constitutional requirement.
Good.
That at least after every 5 years, whenever there's a salary increment, pensioners or retirees also ought to have their retirement benefits increased. But since we started the CPS, the Contributory Pension Scheme, such increases have not been possible. And it's not because it is not being done, but it is because the funds for such increment have to be made available by the federal government.
Through appropriation?
Through appropriation.
Good.
So that when the funds are available, then definitely the increment will also be done.
Sir, I also understand that after retirement, one can also be promoted. So how is this handled in the contributory pension scheme?
Okay. Oh, it's a simple issue, really, because we are aware that sometimes when employees retire, probably after that time, then their retirement, their promotion comes in and probably backdated before their retirement date. So when that happens, such affected employees or retirees in this case, all that they need to do is to forward the information to National Pension Commission. That is for those employees of MDAs that are still under our remittance activity. Okay. They can forward the information to us, and we will consider it and then make the necessary additional payment into their retirement savings account. But for employees that are already under the IPPIS, I think they need to also contact IPPIS in order for the increment to be affected. But you see, in addition to all this, I mean, based on our earlier discussion, the issue of shortfall, zero balances, and things like that, even though, yes, we encourage employees to forward their information to their PFAs, but at the same time, we've come up with a better way of handling the position, because where such complaints arise, all that we expect is for employees to forward their PINs, their PIN numbers, to to their pension desk officers in their relevant organizations.
Okay.
So that a nominal roll will now be compiled and forwarded to the commission.
It will make it easier.
It makes it easier. And then by the time we process the nominal roll, definitely any shortfall will be sorted out. Thank you very much, sir. I think Nigerian workforce, they've heard all you said about remittance and issues bordering with remittance. Viewers, you've heard all what Mr. Tijani said about remittance and issues bordering with remittance. And you now know how to make sure that actual money that should go to your retirement savings account goes to your RS account without issues. The program is Pension Matters, and up next will be our education segment, pension education segment. Don't go away.
Thank you, Princess. Hello, viewers. Welcome to this week's pension education segment. My name is Igbo Patrick. Last week, we looked at the funding of the retirement savings account. We talked about the various responsibilities that is assigned to both the employer and the employee in this aspect. This week, we shall be looking at making additional contribution. Additional contribution is actually referred to by the Act as a voluntary contribution, meaning that you are not compelled to contribute. It is by your own volition to make an additional contribution. The additional contribution could arise as a result of whatever target or maybe saving for a rainy day by the would-be retirement savings account holder. The aim of the voluntary contribution is to encourage workers save for a rainy day and also augment what has been contributed on their behalf by their employers and what they have also contributed. The voluntary contribution is expected to be contributed alongside with what the employer is remitting to the retirement savings account of the individual in question. It is invested alongside the mandatory, and the return on investment also accumulates on both the voluntary as well as the mandatory contribution. So when you pick up a statement of account, you can actually see clearly what accrues to the voluntary contribution as well as to the mandatory contribution. Voluntary contributions can be from various percentages depending on your appetite. You can decide, okay, if you're receiving, for example, 50,000 every month as your salary, once pension has been deducted, you could ask your employer to deduct an additional maybe 10,000 naira, and this is remitted directly into your retirement savings account but tagged as voluntary contribution. And when this is done, you will be saving for a rainy day, and this can be done on monthly basis, either quarterly or yearly, depending on the particular period which is comfortable for you. So I would like to advise our viewers and also employees to use this avenue that has been created by the Act to be able to save for a rainy day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick, for that pension education. Interestingly, the pension education segment on this program has become an exciting segment to the Nigerian workers and Nigerian retirees, judging from the number of mails we receive from them talking about the pension education segment. Viewers, on that note, we'll come to the end of our program for today. That's our package of pension matters for this week. We hope we've been able to educate you and enlighten you on pension issues this week. So don't forget to tune in next week for another informative and educative episode of Pension Matters, where we talk pension. Until then, I remain yours, Princess Sabi Ibrahim, and I urge you to enjoy your weekend.